I'm here with the developers behind That Dragon Cancer. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Ryan Green.
My name is Josh Larson.
And tell us your background before this game. Like, have you developed any games? Any indie games? Any AAA projects?
I spent over 10 years in healthcare as a software developer, and mostly in web apps. And then I spent 2 years working for an indie games company called Soma Games, and we released a couple titles. One was called Wind Up Robots, and it was kind of a tower defense type game. And then I've done some personal games.
I started working on multimedia projects when I was younger, and then I worked on kind of a sort of in between an indie and a AAA game. It was called Darkest of Days for PC and Xbox. And then,
I've heard about it, but I haven't played it yet.
Okay. And I also worked on Dino Wars, which was like a cartoon flash game. Some other mobile projects. Research project with Columbia University, and then started this.
Now, what brought you to this game in particular?
Well, this game is a story of our family, my wife and I and our children, and in particular our third son Joel, who we lost to cancer last year after fighting brain cancer for 4 years. And so this is an expression of our heart, and sharing what Joel was like and why we loved him, and all the ups and downs, and the personal wrestling and the spiritual wrestling, and everything that goes along with fighting chronic illness.
And Brian and I were working together on a project before this. Really liked working together, kind of shared the same vision for what video games were capable of as a medium, and wanted to do a personal project. So Ryan suggested, let's make something about our family and this journey that we've been on. And so I thought it was a great idea, and something that just felt like the right thing to do.
Now, why present this in the form of a game and not a film or documentary book? Why a game out of any genre?
Because we're video game developers, and we're looking to express the things that mean the most to us in the medium that we love and are drawn to and want to explore. I think that there's a certain expectation about what video games are and what they aren't, and I think we want to explore that, because so much of what we're doing through this game is just is experimenting, see what works and see what doesn't work, And it's been a long process. We've been working on this for over 2 years, and it's constantly changing, So it's very much even an experiment for us, both in it means the world to me, and it needs to come out. It's important that we finish, but at the same time it's also important that we don't waste the fact that it's a video game. And I think sometimes we are successful at that, and sometimes we're less successful at it, and that's just kind of the process that we're going through.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't necessarily know the details of this, but Brian and Amy actually created a book in a short film before this project. The film wasn't a documentary, but they were both dealt with the same themes and concepts that we explore in the game. But with a video game, you actually have a sense of presence through the immersion that video games provide. Simply being able to look around in real time and explore a space, move through a space, gives you a sense of presence in that world, and that allows you to get really absorbed into what the world means, and communicating themes about hope and grace, and just understand what somebody was like by interacting with, a representation of their character. I think that's something that video games can really have a unique voice and communicate.
How has the journey been from first designing the concept of the game to now where you are, as far as the process of creating a game been?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that has changed is the first thing that we ever created was very inner monologue heavy, very narrative heavy, and full of dialogue and full of story and very linear. And I think we still are pretty linear. There's a challenge here because the story's already been it already happened. And I'm not really interested in having the players explore what could have happened because it already happened, and that's the space that we're in. So that presents a challenge in itself because usually game players are used to being able to choose their own adventure, choose their own ending, and we don't allow that. So it's been to me it's been this process of okay, we're on this kind of linear path. How can people explore this linear path in a meaningful way in a video game? And at first it was very okay, I just gotta tell them everything I'm thinking, and it's very dialogue heavy. And in later scenes that we're starting to create now, we've backed off the narrative and have focused more on the environment and kind of hiding things and experimenting with, okay, can we let people explore the space and rewarding people for exploring the space? Can we allow people to interact with Joel in a meaningful way? And how does that change it? I'm no longer telling you a beat by beat story. I'm trusting that you want to be in this space and that you want to linger. And so the challenge is, how do we get the players to linger in this space so that they feel what I feel, that they get a glimpse of the beauty that I saw, and that they get a sense of what Joel's like when I don't, now that Joel's passed, I can't film him anymore. I can't make that movie anymore. But I do have fragments of him, and I do have the ability to create him with a brush, right? And an expression of him, but it's not him anymore. And so that changes the looks of it.
Yeah, I think, like you said, with video games, you go into a narrative video game and you expect that you're going to be choosing between narrative branches, right? Because video games enable the player to make choices. And I think that's not the complete picture of what video games can offer. They can offer something else. So the question that we're asking through the development process, through the design process, is what happens when we focus on something other than the choices that the player makes? Is there something else that video games can offer that aren't strictly about choices?
I'm going to have to skip the last question because we are overflowing in time. But no, but when can we see this game come out on what platform?
Well, our goal is to release it in the fall. It should be hopefully about a 2-hour experience, and we're coming to Steam and the Ouya first. And so Steam will be PC and Mac, and Ouya is a small Android microconsole that hooks up to your TV.